If living is its own burden, then I'll watch cathedrals burn twice, hung by 12, sentenced to a moral conviction to measure insight. My prayers have half lives because I'm carrying part of the answers and the actions I decide. Gun clapping is not equivalent to prayers. Daydreaming is not equivalent to meditation. Hands up pleading is not equivalent to protest. Taking sedatives is not equivalent to coping with pain. A brick to the face is not equivalent to laying the first cornerstone. Circling the block with AK is not equivalent to revolution. Self evaluation is not equivalent to a cynical parole board. Hot boxing and cutlass is not equivalent to parks and recreation. Sporadic multitasking is not equivalent to having balance. Choosing not to get involved is not equivalent to an absentee ballot. Being faithful and going to the house of God is not equivalent to housing God inside of you. My soul is on ice and my goals are in the fire. My thoughts alone were not enough to converse with God, so I used the rungs of my heart to climb a metaphorical ladder, an anthology of empty bottles carrying whispered messages. If the images of the present are not in focus, then do we change the images of the past, hoping that our generosity will outweigh the influence of our politics? Because my image is sitting in the British Museum, but I can't get in without passing through a labyrinth of miseducation. They wish to tell me about me as if I did not grow up in these Stockton streets, birthed to a community in a mode of surviving, an exiled purpose existing in the serenades of a diaspora, a cemetery of black butterflies with aspirations written on their wings. If living is its own burden, then I'll watch cathedrals burn twice, hung by 12, sentenced to a moral conviction to measure insight. My prayers have half lives because I'm carrying part of the answers and the actions I decide. Social status, class between Barrow and Barrio, a penny wise investment of a future eked out in a purpose that's ecological. Trying not to lose it like purse snatch petitions that are denied with prejudice. Egyptian aspirations, as I build a pyramid made of mustard seeds. Each reflected image of my people is a faith concealed inside a deed because we are still here. And although we are trying to get there, our existence recognizes that we are heading somewhere. Tears trace multi generational footprints that a lost people can't help but follow. We are building our future and our past in the same moment, while pinstripes and chain fences imprison us between their value of backward glances. Because every hood wants to be great at conquering. Every soul wants to represent its connection to God by not forgetting. Every generation wants to imprint its narrative on the DNA strand. Every believer wants to check his math before Shaitan gets the last laugh. And every poet wants enough ink to write his intentions on the applause of his audience. If living is its own burden, then I'll watch cathedrals burn twice, hung by 12, sentenced to a moral conviction to measure insight. My prayers have half lives because I'm carrying part of the answers and the actions I decide. Welcome to another episode of Word, working on rhetorical design. I got the Nutty Professor speaking, aka Time Done Phenomenon, aka No Introduction Needed. Let's go.
Man, what it do?
Oh man, just blessed, man. Blessed to put on another episode. for the folks and see
Man, right
who
on.
won
That's
us tonight.
man, that was spitting though. You know what I mean? What you said, the poet just need enough ink to put something on the mind of the audience. Oh
Right,
man,
right, right.
that's man. I heard that. You know what I
Nah,
mean?
for sure, for sure. Like
Man,
since I wrote that when I was blessed and privileged to facilitate or help facilitate one of the spoken word groups we used to always do inside of CMC West when we
oh
was
yeah,
locked up. So I wrote that inside with the brother Simeon Alexander. For sure, for sure. Shout outs to the brother and his
man. Shout
family.
out. You know, heck
Definitely.
yeah. So what we doing today?
Man, we just building. Really really want to get what you was understanding really how the word has carried you through your journey, right? Like I think a lot of times we come to the word in just the vibration, but we kind of lose a lot of the cultural significance when we don't kind of explain like how that rhythm or that beat is inspired. So like what music or what like word is always like captivated
Nah,
you or had you close to it.
right. It's like the vibration, like you said, the beat, the beat. You know, like you know when you have a baby, right? You put them to sleep.
Yeah,
You rock them to that beat. You know, and I think like that's the tradition that keeps alive within us. That like you know what I mean that sometimes that we can't even explain it ourselves. But like that beat, you know, when we do it and like when we talk, it's like a rhythm. Like, you know, you could tell like you know, and when you be in that rhythm with somebody else, you know what I mean. When you like you shooting your stuff, you know, and they vibing
yeah,
with you, you know, they ad libbing with you, you know what I mean. Like when you saying something like yup, you know what I mean, yup, you know what I mean. Like it's an energy there, you know what I mean. With it's words, but it's so much more than just the actual words that's being spoken. It's a vibe, and the vibe is like a spirituality, you know what I mean, that comes from
mm,
within, you know. And like
yeah,
a lot of
yeah.
times we can't explain it, you know what I mean, but we know exactly what it is, you know.
Okay,
And I believe like the reason why we can't explain it is because our language been snatched from us, right? But if we had our own
yeah,
language and the stuff that like you know that was taken away from us, we could explain it, you know what I mean? Like I don't think it was supposed to be explained in English, bro. You know, but you know, but but
that's
but but
interesting. You say that.
but we feel it though. We feel it though. You know what I mean? And like that's what I'm saying with you. When I heard you say that, I was vibing with you with the words. You know what I mean? But I
Yeah,
felt it, bro. You know?
for sure, for sure. Nah,
Yes,
yeah,
sir.
yeah. Now it's interesting
Yes,
you say
sir.
that because it's like our language is our rhythm,
Right.
right? And we see that through like our how our culture has been translated to and really commodified, but really translated to different successes by utilizing our art, utilizing our rhythm, just really just being real distinct and unique in that. And it's like it's always been that cultural rhythm, that calling or that vibration. And that's why like I see we use words working on rhetorical designs because it's like we're trying to call to something. Like since the history of our existence, we've been calling and drawing forth. And it's like we've been utilizing our words to do that most successfully, engage with each other. But,
Right.
but you got a piece for the people though.
For me, man, I mean,
Yeah,
I
for the
really,
people.
man, I really, man,
Something
I'm
written.
trying to get better, but like, I wanted to do something. I wanted to do my old thing because I just watched this whole Fred Hampton movie. You know,
I think I
I,
watched that.
I've been hip about Fred Hampton way before this. You know what I mean? But I wasn't hip to everything that was being displayed on the movie, especially like the part of the them sending an undercover brother to infiltrate the movement. You know what I
Okay.
mean?
Yeah.
Like like
I just
like
watched that.
that, yeah, that part I never knew about, but the whole thing about him being murdering who he was and all that stuff, you know, I did know, but I didn't realize that they had a brother that was like all in the mix, you know. And now like it makes me want to go back to them old real videos, not the movie, the real videos of them, and see if that brother was like where was he at in these different films and stuff, you know. So like you know
Yeah.
that like that been really treating me, but I had something old but it's nothing to do it. But I want to give it like a dedication to all the folks, you know what I mean, the people, you know. And it was like
Okay.
Juneteenth emancipated, 65 desegregated, Brown versus Board educated. That's how my people made it. Whenever they talk about oppressive plots, I thought about the Montgomery bus boycott. Charles Sims and the Deacons, Stokely Carmichael Truth speaking, Black Power at its peaking, African spiritual drums beating, Du Bois with his talented 10, Ida B. Well for color women, Ernest Green gets surface steaming, Martin Luther King, he had a dream. But me, I would have been on Malcolm's team, red, black, and green on a Panther scheme. My skin, my bling, my soul supreme, and pockets king. Yada I mean. You know what I mean? And like that was given up to that time of people. You know what I mean? When I
Yeah.
wrote that, it was a Black History Month event, but it was like catered to a lot of the people that was making moves and shaking in the 60s and 70s and stuff like that. So like, you know what I mean? Like that song was dedicated to them brothers, you know, like some of our ancestors, you know what I mean?
For sure. I can dig that.
Yes.
No, no, I like that. But I was interested because I just got I watched that movie the other day.
Right.
Same movie you talking about. So yeah, it was interesting how it kind of pointed out a lot of different things that you probably didn't read about or just in a normal story that they kind of fed to you and you
Right.
digested that. So yeah, it was an interesting little twist to it.
It was good. You know, and like what was like Fred Hampton wasn't as dark as the brother that they had play it. You know what I mean? And like it's like normally like they try to like lighten a individual, but this time they darkened the individual. I thought that was pretty noteworthy to highlight. You know,
Hmm. No, yeah. No, but I
you
think he
know,
did a good job in portraying it. So I don't know. I think he probably just won out the role. Yeah, I
right?
think he did kind of do a good job in kind of portraying the
Oh,
brother's strength, right? That you kind
he
of read about.
did, man. Like
Yeah,
even the little things he was saying, man. Like he was man. He was man. He had it. You know what I mean?
yeah. And I think like you say, it's important. Like his wordplay, his speech. I mean, you read about Marcus Garvey, and they feel
Right.
like even without a microphone or even a megaphone, he could be heard from blocks, right? Because
Right.
his word vibrated to that degree, and it kind of got into the bones and the souls of folks, and kind of. And I think that's one of the things that we need more of in our communities, like that word is gonna like imbibe and like and waking up the folks to kind of not
You know,
necessarily to someone else's purpose or processes, but to like whatever they intend or want to be.
right. Right. Absolutely. Because like the parallels between him and Marcus Garvey is pretty like some of them is the same too. Because like Marcus Garvey was the first case where they sent a black person in to infiltrate a black movement. You know what I mean? A paid informant. You know, like that was the first case of it with Marcus Garvey in the United Negro Improvement Association against them. You know what I mean? And then like you know what else was like that was significant was like that Fred Hampton went to go talk to the Young Patriots, right? And the Young Patriots was like, we seen them with the Confederate flag in the background and all that other stuff. You know what I mean? And like them and the Latino groups were all marching together. But right, but like what's crazy is like that Marcus Garvey went to go talk to the Ku Klux Klan, bro. You know what I mean? That was one of the critiques about him too that people had. You know what I mean? On the same type of thing, because like the thing was that Ku Klux Klan pushed the thing go back to Africa, and Marcus Garvey was like, yeah, let's go. You know what I mean? So like
Repatriation
you know what I mean? And
is
if
what
that's
they
the case,
called
like,
it.
yeah, we agree on this certain thing. So let's make this happen. You know what I mean? So a lot of people didn't agree with his method and stuff, but I just thought like, you know, when I seen him go to in the movie to like the Patriots, because I didn't realize this happened either. This was something new.
Hmm.
It brought me to Marcus Garvey. You know what I mean? In his movement, you know what I mean? And like how sharp the dude Fred Hampton was, I'm sure he knew. You know what I mean? I'm sure he knew. You know, so
For
like
sure, for sure.
that was pretty interesting too. You know what I mean on that movie. You know,
Okay. And flipping it to today's times, right?
right?
What would you just chiming in? What would you say is going to be that word or that vibration that you kind of see now in the movement, or something that you would kind of produce for folks to kind of get attached to, right? To make real impact, to make real change, to make real like progress. Do you see any folks kind of akin to like I always tell folks like, man, I wait on no more Malcolms. right? Because you'll miss like the
Yeah,
talent and skills that we do got, right?
right. Um, I mean, like we toyed the word power today. You know what I mean? But like that, that's what I'm trying to achieve, though. Like, you know what I mean? Power amongst us, whether economic power, um, power to to influence the changes that we need in our communities and stuff like that. So I think like right now for me, it's like power. You know what I mean?
And what was
Like,
the definition of power? What did you say it was again?
I'm using Bobby Seale's definition. You know what I mean? Which is power is the ability to define phenomenon and make it act in a desired manner. Yes, sir. So like that's what I borrow from. And there's other definitions of power, like Pico power is organized people, organized money. You know what I mean? Organized thoughts. Like it's that very version of power. You know what I mean? And there's other different things about power, but like the one that I'm using right now is in reference to Bobby Seals from the Black Panther Party for self-defense. Yes, sir.
For sure. No, yeah. Shout out to the brother Bobby for sure.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I met him before. I met him once before. You know what I mean?
Oh, is that right?
We spoke at the same conference.
Oh yeah, that's what's up.
Yeah, man, it was a
That's
dope
what's
conference
up.
too. Angela Davis was there. Angela Davis, Eric, what's his name? Eric Lamont Hill, Malcolm X's daughter, Ambassador Shabazz, um, Angela Davis, and me. I know how to play
Right.
with
For
people.
sure. For sure.
I was in the building, man. You know what I mean? I gave two workshops, one on African American male leadership and one in clubs and organizations. You know what I mean? Yep.
Okay. No, yeah, that's what's up. That's what's up. Yeah, I mean, it was interesting. The Angela Davis, she was graced to do a screening on one of my documentaries while I was still inside of prison. But the documentary had
Wow.
got out and won a film award in Austin, Texas. And she was, she does, I think, teaches at UC Santa Cruz or
Right.
somewhere in there. But she
That,
kind of
that, that,
comes like
that's
every
that's
few
where I was
years.
when I did all this stuff. All that thing
Yeah,
happened at UC Santa Cruz. Facts.
yeah, yeah,
Yep.
yeah. So that was a trip. Shout out to the sister for sure.
It was like the day after Valentine's Day. I gave this presentation on everything. You know what I mean? So it was probably like a few years ago, right around this time. Yep.
Yeah,
Black History Month. You know.
not yet for sure.
Yo. But yeah, man.
I'm trying
Heck
to
yeah,
tap
man. But
in.
yeah. But what about you? What's the vibranium? The vibrant word that you talking about, brother?
It's been the same, but really, we just creating a echo of just community love and support, relationship building, right? Capacity building in a real equitable way where
Mm-hmm.
folks really know, bring the language to where the need is at. So I think really just doing the work and chipping away at that. I think one of the interesting things of having a lens, right, a transformative justice lens to kind of know the importance is going to be in resurrecting, learning from, also exchanging with these organic intellectuals, right? And once their consciousness and awareness gets to a certain level, we're gonna be privileged to sit back and learn from them as they kind of navigate and guide the movie. Same thing, similar, akin to what Michelle Alexander was talking about in the new Jim Crow, where she was kind of just a paraphrase, but she said, "Well, there's going to be a vanguard of folks, right? That the movement is going to have to hand over the baton to, right? And these folks they're gonna come out, right? And she said most of these folks are gonna be the formerly incarcerated folks. And she said these folks are gonna come out and they're gonna come out with their trauma, they're gonna come out with their pain, but in that they're also gonna come out with their wisdom and their insight, right? And she said you would be privileged, right? Because there's also an old vanguard that cannot carry the movement like any further, right? And it's like wisdom is like recognizing that, like who do you hand the baton to and like when and where, because it's not for the sake of you that we kind of do this, but for the sake of generations that we know should have been saved, but also can be saved. So I think that was kind of interesting. But me and I read that in prison. So when I
Right.
read that and I take ownership, like man, she's talking about me, right? And that also resurrected my organizing and my learning, and because I knew I had a responsibility connected
Mm-hmm.
to it, right? Because somebody seen it
Wow.
and she put it into if you put it into word, right? I mean, just like we always come back to it, and it's like always has it been like, man, you get righteous word, you get that right there to it. Somebody recognize it, go inside and put it out, and then you also get somebody on the other end, or thousands of somebody's like myself to read it and like, oh, okay, I'm akin to that purpose, so I'm gonna work towards that, and I'm gonna try to do the best I can to kind of represent that vanguard where it's like, hey man, we be privileged to
Right. That means you got to
take
write a book,
over.
bro. That means you got to write a book, bro. Or organic intellectual, like you know what I mean. We need this to go down in history from you, bro. Like you know what I mean. The stuff that you're speaking because you are bringing wisdom. Everything that she's talking about, we like just how her book touched thousands of people. We need your book out there to touch thousands of people. You know what I mean? And awake the masses and stop getting like this secondhand information and get it from an actual real person. You know what I mean? So like and it's something that I'm working towards too. You
Oh,
know,
for
it's,
sure.
it's it's something I'm working towards too. You know, and like I'm trying to take baby steps. You know what I mean? But I know trying to take a step every day. You know what I mean? Even if it's baby steps, I'm eventually gonna get there. You know what I mean? And like
No,
the
yeah,
same thing,
definitely.
like the African proverbs. Like you got to crawl before. I mean, it's pretty much saying like you got to crawl before you walk. You know what I mean? So like even if you ain't taking steps right now, crawl there. You know what I'm saying? Like for
No, yeah,
real.
yeah, definitely,
You
definitely.
know,
And I tell folks, I mean, like one of the things I love is like, man, be patient because I mean the wisdom or the insight that I'm privileged to understand in my mind is like we're privileged to create in the same way the creator creates,
hmm
right? And when I say that, it's like it's a patient process when even when you're not physically working with your hands, or you working your vision in your mind, right? Until you get it to a level where it's like rotating and it's vibrating, where a level where it imbues something else, and then now you can verbalize it better, right? You articulate it because it becomes like imbued in your vision. And I'm saying this because, like I say, I was able to create, resurrect, and carry a vision in a dark place. So I'm
right,
I'm not just speaking to something that like really doesn't. I know that doesn't work. Like, nah, you have to really understand how to like carry your. Like, I was in the cell, like homies coming by the cell, like, oh, he burnt out. He talking to himself, right? But I'm in the mirror, right? I stayed in. I choose not to go to day room today. I stayed in, and I'm practicing, right, in my mind, imagining looking in the mirror, giving speeches at Harvard, right, giving speeches at university, give right
that's
from the
right.
prison cell. Understand what I'm saying, right?
Yeah,
But it was like if folks walking by, like, oh, and it was an interesting the folks are getting out now, the old lifers, right? Who I have the privilege to sit up with and facilitate with and break bread with. Some of them is
right,
getting out and they're like, man, they laughing, but they are doing it in a blessed way. They say, "Farrah, no wonder you got out and you said and you did what you said you was gonna do. Like your
right,
word was what it's like it's not a wonder we see you in service or in movement or like, oh, okay, it's a trip, but it's like and it gives us hope, right? So I always say like whenever you connected to your word it's bigger than you because you give your word back to a universal vibration. That's that
right,
interconnectedness, right? That's that so-called monotheism that folks understand to a
right.
degree, right? But it's like we're all interconnected. So your word is
Absolutely.
connected to something. It's a mathematics in this universe.
Right. Right. It's kind of like a star. Like like when you were saying this, you kind of remind me of a star, right? Because a star is in a black place. It's in a dark space, right? But it's a shining light, bro. Like you know what I mean? Like and that's when you said that. That's what I could see. Like you said, you was like you had vision in a dark space, right? But that vision to me was like a shining light, and that's why people were stopping to look at it. You know what I mean? I talk about energy wise, spirituality. You know what I mean? Like for real. You know what I mean? And like when you saying that, that's what I see. You know what I mean? And like even though we'll never get to a star, but we can see that bright shining light away from here. You know what I mean? And one of them stars is the North Star. You know what I mean? And like bam, like what you were doing was projecting like a North Star, bro. Like you know what I mean? Because like North Star is like always like a sign of freedom. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
That's
yeah, for
real.
sure.
I mean, like for real. Like even for people who believe in the Bible, like the wise man was following the North Star. Like you know what I mean? Like all the people who were trying to get free was following the North Star. You know what I mean? Like the whole image of the North Star is like a thing of freedom. You know what I mean? And like bam, like
Mhm.
and that's that light that shines in the dark, bro. The brightest light that shines in the darkest of nights. You know what I mean? Like so, like you know, it just when you was telling me that just right now, my mind went there, bro. North Star, bright shining lights. You know what I mean? A
No,
light
no, for
shining
sure, for
in
sure.
darkness. That's real, bro. That's real.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it, appreciate it. But yeah, yeah, the brothers just show up tonight, so
It's cool, man. Do you
we
know how many
not
times
gonna
I sat on
hang.
that 209 call? Nobody showed up, bro. But
Right, you
that's
feel me?
that's why I came here because there's been times on that 209 call. It was just me and you talking something before on that same 209 call, and we never
Yeah,
gave up.
yeah, for
And
sure.
you seen today we had people from different corners of the earth showing up in the 209 call. So like, you know what I mean? Like, man, I'll sit here with you whether we have 100 people, if it's just me and you, bro. I
No,
appreciate
for sure. No, I appreciate you as well. And like I say, it's really just trying to build a platform. So like I always say, and even before I close out,
you. Right,
I've had her words pop up. This platform pop up in this other city similarly situated. Not just
right.
Stockton. It's like this not just a Stockton thing. It's like because we freestyle, we cipher, and it's like we have to get back to connecting with each other and having positive conversations, right? And
Absolutely.
also teaching our youth how to reflect your art, how to troubleshoot. Because best believe, like I say, when you able to kind of freestyle and come through, you also able to kind of tap into, as the ancient Hermetics call it, Hethiru, right?
Mhm.
Or your imagination
Right.
component, right? So I think really breaking that down, and we're gonna also be using this platform to really break down more so the kinetic science, right? I think it's at least should be an alternative to our folks to really understand how to kind of empower themselves with more metaphysics and kind of what's being offered at the table. So appreciate y'all for tapping in and tuning in as always. Building
Man,
soil, word, working on rhetorical design. Got the brother T Stu doing
what it do? The Nutty Professor, Buddy Love, Professor Clump. You know
you
what I'm
feel
saying?
me? But now one love and y'all be blessed.
Yes, sir.